I don't think you should take the word of either of us. I think you should go Google it and look for competent authorities, but you heard two opinions. So.
I think it's very likely. Here's my reasoning.
Okay.
25 years ago, if we had, let's say, 200,000 Satmars, 30 years ago. I'm just throwing out numbers out of my ass right now. Okay? And each one had 8, they all had 8 kids. You times it by 4, right? So that's 800,000 plus the 200,000, that's 1 million Satmars right there. And I'm saying, if those numbers are accurate back then, you've got 5 times more of that right now. You can't help it. Time goes by. And we're in the 3rd generation. Because it took them 20 years to get that. That would be in the year 2000. Now we're in 2010. We're already starting to reproduce from there. That's why I think it's easily somewhere between 1 million.
How many would you say there are in Los Angeles?
Satmars?
Yeah.
Very tiny.
Yeah.
Very tiny. We don't have many. The Satmars in America are going to be in New York.
Is it true the Satmars buy nice jewelry every Yom Tov for their wives?
I really don't know.
Okay. They want to know if you're drinking water or vodka.
I'm drinking water.
Okay. So I got this. I've got this update. Tony Romo has broken his clavicle. He's out for the season. So
what? Where do you get that from?
I saw it on the chat earlier. Where you?
Oh wow,
So
that's a big deal.
Romo's out for the season, but Torah talk carries on.
Who is Geronimo?
I don't know him. I don't think he's I don't think he's a frum Jew. So.
Oh, you know him?
No, I just know him from coming on the chat. So.
But has he been on your chats before
Yeah.
I showed up?
Yeah, I don't believe he's a frum Jew.
Okay, you look like you're about to cry. You look upset because I attacked you tonight, huh? It's been very adversarial tonight, right? So let's do a hug. Let's do a hug.
It's Tony, loss of Tony Romo for the season.
Oh, is that what it is?
I really don't care about that Goyish nonsense. I have other things going on in my life.
Hey, somebody said hi to me. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
So, do Jews today, when they make a deal, just like this week's Torah portion is Chaya Sarah, which is I think basically Genesis 23 to
tell them we're going to start talking about the Parsha now.
So we're going to start talking about the Parsha.
Okay.
And Abraham sends his servant off to find a wife for Isaac, and he wants to make sure the servant, it was probably Eliezer, takes things seriously.
Correct.
So he says, "Here, I want you to swear you're going to do this right, and so put your hand under my thigh." So, which the word, I understand, the English word testimony is related to the English word testicles. So in the ancient world, when you wanted to show you're really serious about something, you grab the other guy's testicles.
No.
So
that's just completely false.
Do Jews still do this when they make deals? So they grab each other's testicles? No,
this is. I saw you writing about this. You're running around saying, but you're completely wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Here, you want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what's going on. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
In Judaism, in Torah, okay, there's a principle when you make an agreement with somebody, right? You put your hand on something that's Torah-dic. Usually, I think there's a thing about putting on tefillin. You put on tefillin, you make this. I don't know why, but there's something that I think that if you do an oath or something with somebody, you wear tefillin. Well, obviously they didn't have tefillin back then. They didn't have these mitzvahs. The only mitzvah that Abraham had was the bris.
Mm-hmm.
So that the only thing that they could have this oath on, because they didn't have tefillin, would be his bris. The guy wasn't allowed to actually touch his.
Did he work the balls or the shaft?
The bris would have been on.
The tip.
On the tip, on the circumcision.
So he had his hand on the tip.
And he did not have his hand in it. He had his hand close to it on his thigh. End of story. He never touched the guy's genitals. He touched his thigh. And that is what happened.
Like when you're in yeshiva and you're just a vulnerable tyke and you're like sad and suicidal, then any of the rabbis come to you and say, "Hey, Rabbs, I want you to promise to be a good boy and to do the mitzvahs, so here, put your hand under my thigh.
No. Today, no, and this is just stupid. It didn't happen then, and it doesn't happen now, and I just explained it to you why.
Okay, good. I just wanted to clear that up for anyone who had questions.
The only person who ever had a question was you. Before I saw what you were running around posting everywhere, I had never heard anybody been that far off before. So I think you were running on your own.
Running on empty. Isn't that a song?
Right. So again, it's on the thigh. And it's supposed to be like you're near the circumcision.
Woo!
And today we don't do it on circumcisions. What do we do it on?
We don't make oaths.
Well, what would you do if you could? If you had an agreement like that?
I put my hand on a fine...
No, you do it with... I just said you wear tefillin.
Tefillin, on a fine pair of tefillin.
No, you wear the tefillin.
Yeah. So Leslie's willing to put her hand on my thigh. I'm the thigh master. So, yeah, I put on my tefillin. So, Pashas Chaya Sarah.
You had other things, too, in that long laundry list.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of things here.
Okay, because I looked it over, and I can answer up all these things. There was things.
Awesome, that's why I put them up in
There was
advance,
questions you wrote, and there was also nonsense that you wrote,
yeah.
and I can answer all of it.
Great, so we're going to bring it.
Okay,
so,
bring it.
Abraham has a lot of kids. How come it's only Isaac that really matters?
Because Isaac is the Jewish one. And God made a covenant with Abraham that the Jewish people would be his descendants and blah, 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 and that's through Isaac.
Yeah. So, what is there impressive about Isaac? I mean, he never left the Holy Land.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. And I believe he was the one patriarch to engage in agriculture.
No, I don't know about that.
What's impressive about Isaac?
He learned Torah all day. He was a masmid.
And anything else?
That's what he did. He was a masmid learner. Whereas,
what's masmid mean?
Somebody who continually learns all day long.
Okay.
Avraham Avinu was busy. He was running around country to country. He was telling people, about God, and he was involved, in that. He wasn't sitting down learning all day long.
Yeah.
Yaakov, Jacob, who was the son of Isaac, was similar to Abraham. He was going to Padamaram. He was going to these places and went down to Egypt. He was always busy going places, and he wasn't sitting down learning all day long. The 12 tribes, I think, that never really sat down and learned. They were also busy going to Egypt and stuff. The only one of our patriarchs who never left Eretz Yisrael, who never picked up and moved out of the house, was Yitzchak. He sat and he learned in Beis Medrash every day, all day long.
What was he learning? The Torah hadn't been given yet.
Well, he was learning the tradition. The oral Torah certainly did exist. The learning that Abraham went and learned from Shem and Eber.
Mm-hmm.
Shem was the son of Noah, who had been on the boat and had the tradition of everything that had been all the history from Adam down through Methuselah down to Shem, right, was transferred over to Abraham, and Abraham taught that to Isaac, and that's what Isaac learned all day.
Would you say that I'm a masmid?
You?
Yeah. Not so much.
Don't make me say Lashon Hora.
Hey, so did Jews have concubines today? Because Abraham was...
No, absolutely not. Forbidden.
You sure?
Yep.
Don't you long for those olden days when a man could have a lot of women? Better times. You'd get your wife, you could have 3 wives and 15 concubines.
Actually, the Rambam warns against increasing in wives.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of warnings, but I mean, aren't there like some warnings that you want to actually experience so you can see how truly unmeaningful they are?
I would like to experience one wife. How about that? Just one wife. That's what I would like to experience. I'm almost 50 years old. I've never experienced one wife.
I'd like to experience 3 wives and 15 concubines. Then I'd be happy. I wouldn't ask God for anything else. I'd just be very dutiful.
How you gonna afford them all in this?
I'd put them out to work. Here, they're coming in right now. But I'd put them out to work so that I could study Torah all day. and
So
Bob.
they're all going to work for you.
Yeah.